my friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tori. If you're new, I'm so happy that you're here because today we're talking about all of my most anticipated releases that are coming out in the last quarter of the year. I usually do these anticipated release videos quarterly, so this is going to be for October through December, and I'm not gonna lie, some of my absolute most anticipated releases of the entire year are coming out in this section. So I hope that you're excited. If you are, please be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. Let's talk about some books. Most of these books are coming out in October. That's like my stacked month. And I'm just gonna go in order of publication. So the first book on this list that comes out in October is called Throne of the Fallen by Kerri Maniscalco. This takes place in her world that she set up in the Kingdom of the Wicked series. This is supposed to be a standalone adult fantasy romance, and this one's following the Prince of Envy. In the Kingdom of the Wicked series, there are these princes of hell, and they represent the 7 deadly sins. Kingdom of the Wicked was kind of an interesting series because it started off YA, like super YA. The last book was one of the spiciest books ever, like so adult. It just progressively got more and more adult. I think she realized that writing spice is really fun and people typically have feral reactions to spicy scenes. So I'm really happy that we're getting just like an adult book and she's like, I'm embracing this. The Prince of Envy gets this mysterious note about a deadly game that's taking place. There's riddles, hexed objects, anonymous players, and nothing will stand in his way to win this game. With a powerful artifact in his own future at stake, Envy is determined to win, though none of his meticulous plans prepare him for her. A frustrating artist who ignites his sin and passion like no other. Kerri Maniscalco definitely isn't a favorite author of mine. I don't love her female characters that she writes. The main character from the Kingdom of the Wicked series was so dumb at certain points that you were just like, how have you survived for this long in a fantasy series? Like, I don't understand. But I love the male characters that she writes, and the spice that she writes is really, really fun. So this one made it on the list. That book comes out on October 3rd. The first 4 books that I'm talking about all come out on October 3rd. So October 3rd is a big day in the publishing community. The next book I'm gonna talk about is The Hurricane Wars, and this is by Thea Guanzin. This is also an adult high fantasy romance book. Our female main character's name is Taliesin, I think. She has grown up an orphan in a nation that is plagued by war. It's under siege by the ruthless Night Emperor. She has light magic in her blood, in her veins, and that is a power that everyone has believed to have been wiped out long ago. Enter Prince Alaric. He is the son to the Night Emperor, and he's tasked with stomping out any threat to the Night Empire. He's kind of a general of the army. He has like armies underneath him, and then he also has shadow magic. This is kind of giving Air Awakens vibes, except make it adult. Obviously the Air Awakens series by Elise Kova, it's so good. First of all, if you haven't read it, highly recommend. It's really very similar. Our main character has magic that's believed to have been wiped out for a very long time, and her love interest is the prince who wields very dark magic. They form like a begrudging alliance to work together. It sounds so good. Next up, again also on October 3rd, is The Scarlet Alchemist by Kylie Lee Baker. Kylie Lee Baker has one of my absolute favorite writing styles ever. She also writes with a lot of like darker themes, and her writing style is it's beautiful. It's descriptive, but it's very grungy and kind of creepy. She's very, very good at creating a dark, atmospheric book. The other books that I've read by her are the Keeper of Night series, or duology. Highly, highly recommend that one. But this is a separate series. It is the start of the Scarlet Alchemist series. We follow our main character. Her name is Zillan or Zilan. I don't know how to say our main character's name. She has a dream of becoming a royal alchemist, but she is currently in her very small, impoverished village in China. And she's practicing an illegal form of alchemy, which is resurrection. This is how her family's been surviving, because she's been doing this illegal form of alchemy to provide for her very poor family until she can go and take her test to become a royal alchemist, in which case she goes to the capital to compete against the other best alchemists in the country. But her unsavory form of alchemy has followed her there, and she ends up making a secretive deal with the prince. He wants her to resurrect someone for him for a price. The more that Zilin succeeds in her alchemy, the more she gets caught in dangerous political games of the royal family. There are monsters lurking within the palace walls, and it's only a matter of time before they and the secrets of her past catch up with her. I have an arc for this and I need to read it this month, so I will have a review for this book in a coming vlog in September. This seems to be the autumn of creepy gothic haunted house books, and I am just living my best life out here. So this next one also comes out on October 3rd. It is called The Starling House by Alex E. Harrow. Alex E. Harrow is one of my favorite authors. If you are a fan of extremely lush and descriptive writing, you will love Alex Harrow. I'm most excited for this one because it's a gothic haunted house book. All of her other books have had this air of whimsy to them. She really embraces her flowery writing style to create just the most beautiful descriptive settings for her books, and her books are also typically very character driven as well. So if any of that sounds good to you, The Starling House. This book takes place in Eden, Kentucky, which is a dying bad luck town, and it's only known for the legend of E. Starling. She was a reclusive author and illustrator in the 19th century of one book that made it big, which was called The Underland. And then she disappeared. But upon her disappearance, the Starling House popped up. Everyone agrees, like, don't go near this house. If you're going near this house, that's on you. Like, best of luck to you. We're not messing with that. There's one last lonely heir. His name is Arthur Starling, who I guess is like taking over or coming into this Starling house. Enter Opal. Opal seems like our main character. She knows better than to mess with haunted houses and broody men. Or does she? But an unexpected job offer might be a chance to get her brother out of Eden. Too quickly though, the Starling house starts to feel dangerously like something she's never had, a home. As sinister forces converge on Starling House, Opal and Arthur work together to dig up the buried secrets of the past and confront their own fears, or let Eden be taken over by a literal nightmare. Absolutely. Now we're moving on from October 3rd. Those are all of the October 3rd releases. Now we have Unfamiliar Volume 2, and this is by Haley Newsome. It comes out on October 17th. This is the second volume in a graphic novel series, the first one being Unfamiliar Volume 1. It is the cutest witchy graphic novel ever. I mean, add it to our repertoire of just atmospheric, autumnal, spooky graphic novels. Like, there's so many of them. Pumpkinheads is one of my favorites as well. This one follows a little witchy gal. She's moving what seems like out of the mortal realm and into this witch-specific town, and she buys this new house. It's a skull house, and it's literally the cutest illustration style ever. But she finds that upon arriving at her new home, it is completely possessed. There are tons and tons and tons, heaps of ghosts that are haunting her new house. And our little girly pop, her specialty is cooking magic. She is so good at whipping up delicious recipes. It is not providing an exorcism to this home. So she goes in search of some witchy friends to help her exorcise her house, get these ghosts out so that she can actually live there and have it be a habitable place. And the journey just goes from there. The characters all have their own backstories, their own things that they're struggling with, but the humor in the first book, immaculate. So I can't wait for the second volume to come out. It sounds so good, and again, it's literally the cutest thing in the whole world. Oh my gosh. Okay, all of these are heavy hitter books. Like, all of these I'm so excited for, but we're starting to get into the ones that I'm actually feral and drooling at the mouth over. So we have On October 19th, we have Two Twisted Crowns by Rachel Gillig getting released. That is the second book to One Dark Window. It is the Shepherd King series. If you haven't read this book and you love a grimdark, creepy, gothic fantasy romance, it's so good. This is one of my top books of the year that I've read. I fell in love instantly with this world. I think that the premise of this book is so interesting. Elspeth and just the magic in this world overall. So Elspeth lives in an eerie, mist-locked kingdom of Blunder. Basically, there's this magic that's taking place, and there's this evil witch who, if anyone goes into this mist, gets possessed by this evil witch's magic. So in order to survive, she needs a monster. She calls him the Nightmare, an ancient mercurial spirit that's trapped in her head. He protects her and he keeps her secrets, but nothing comes free, especially magic. I don't even want to say anything else because it's just so good. There's an unrequited love trope in this. The way that her and her love interest, I'm so freaking obsessed with them. Raven is one of like my top book boyfriends of the year. I love him so much. There's knights in this book. He's kind of this knight in black armor. Oh my gosh, I just can't even. It's foresty. It's super like naturalistic because they live in a forest world and all of the characters' last names are after different types of trees. I could just go on and on. Anyways, the second book in the series is coming out October 19th. I've already pre-ordered it. The second it comes in, I'm dropping everything and reading it right away. Okay, these last couple of books in this video are stacked. Like, these books are going to take over my life. On October 24th, this release date got pushed back from September and it literally broke my heart. We have A Curse for True Love by Stephanie Garber coming out. It's going to be the finale book in the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy. I'm so excited for it. Like, I can't wait to read A Curse for True Love, but at the same time, the fact that this trilogy is coming to an end and then we just have to wait for Stephanie Garber to let us know if she's releasing another series, another trilogy, I'm gonna be devastated. It's gonna hurt so bad. This series is a spin-off from the Caraval series. We follow a character that we get introduced to in Caraval. His name is Jax. And we get introduced to a different female main character that we're following. Her name is Evangeline Fox. She has pink hair and she gets entangled in this deal with the Prince of Hearts, who is a fate in this world. He is this all-powerful kind of being who is just trouble. He's kind of an F-boy, but I love him so much. He's the only blonde love interest that has my whole entire heart and soul. I love Jax. He is ultimate broody, misunderstood, sad boy times a million bajillion. That's all I'm gonna say, because a lot of these books that are getting released are a continuation in a series, and so I can't really give you a synopsis of them. But if you haven't read Stephanie Garber and you love a fairy tale, whimsical like world, extremely lush, flowery, descriptive writing, it's a YA fantasy romance that you will just fall into, and every chapter ends on a cliffhanger. Like, these books, all of her books, are the epitome of one more chapter, because you won't want to put it down, because you're like, oh my gosh, I need to find out what happens next, and then the ending leaves you on such a massive cliffhanger that you just want to cry. I'm sure that you all know about this next release, but when I tell you I'm not doing anything else on November 7th besides reading this book, that is Iron Flame by Rebecca Yaros, which is the second book in the Empyrean series, the first book being Fourth Wing. This book swiftly took my #1 topic of the year. No other book could even compete with it. It's like everything that I had read before this book this year paled in comparison. That might sound dramatic, but I'm not joking. This book took over my life. It has drugs in it. I will link my Fourth Wing reading vlog down below if you want to just see me absolutely lose my mind. This book gave me the feeling of reading the ACOTAR series for the first time, except this book took it to a next level. Like, I don't know that I will ever feel the way that I felt reading Fourth Wing for the first time with any other book series. This takes place at a, do I even need to give a summary for this? Because I feel like This book has been around the block 8 million times with how much people talk about this book. The second book in Fourth Wing is coming out. I can't wait for November 7th. Then on November 14th, we finally have what I believe is going to be the fourth and final book in the A Touch of Darkness series by Scarlett St. Clair. This is the series that I read in 2020 when I first got back into reading that sparked my absolute feral enjoyment of Greek retellings. This is what started my obsession with Shadow Daddies. It's a new adult series that is a retelling, like I mentioned, of Hades and Persephone with a modern day twist on it. Hades is the owner and he has this kind of empire of like nightclubs and gambling clubs, casinos, but they're not really casinos. They're just like nightclubs that have gambling in them. And we have Persephone, who is studying journalism. She has been told her whole life she needs to hide being a goddess. She needs to not interact with any of the gods or goddesses, nor does she really have an interest to be a goddess. She has struggles with her powers and she feels very inadequate. They go to this nightclub. She ends up at this card table. And of course, she unintentionally makes a deal with the devil. She makes a deal with the god of the underworld. He challenges her that she has to create life in the underworld or she will be stuck down there forever. Originally, this book was supposed to come out last year, I think, but Scarlett St. Clair pushed this last book back so much because she started releasing the A Game Of series, which is basically this entire series that's in Persephone's perspective. She rewrote it in Hades' POV. You don't have to read the Hades POV books in order to read A Touch of Chaos. They're the same story. Like, you will not get any new plot points. You won't, it's literally the same story, just in Hades' POV. It felt like Scarlett St. Clair, when she thought about it, was like, oh, I should have made this a dual POV, and I didn't. So I'm just gonna do it now. But the last book, this A Touch of Chaos book, is going to be dual POV. So I can't wait for it. I think it's gonna be so fun. And then the last book that I'm going to mention, I feel like December, there's probably more books that I am excited for, but this is the one that I'm most excited for. It is the second book in the Letters of Enchantment series. So the first one being Divine Rivals. I read this past summer and with a quickness fell in love. This is another writing style that is just gorgeous, beautiful, literary genius in my opinion, and it has the best rivals to lovers that I think I've ever read. So Ruthless Vows is coming out December 26th. What a happy Boxing Day for all of us. I've also pre-ordered this book as well because the cliffhanger that this leaves you on, I was not okay. I was actually in tears reading the ending of this book. It's wonderful. I'm not going to summarize Divine Rivals either because I've done it a couple of different times in a couple different videos. I'll link the reading vlog to Divine Rivals in the description box down below if you do want to watch it and get more of my thoughts and feelings, but I cannot wait for Ruthless Vows. I think it's gonna be so much fun. If you are excited for any of these books as well, please let me know in the comments down below. Let me know if there's any other books. I feel like I'm missing a lot of them, but these are the books that I'm most excited for, so I was like, yeah, this is it. These last 3 months of the year, these new releases that are coming out, I have never been more excited. Period. But if there's any books that you're super looking forward to that are coming out October, November, December, please let me know in the comments down below. I will absolutely add more to this list. I will catch you in the comments and I'll see you in my next one, friends. Bye.